This library has been a safe place for the people in the Gainsborough community for over 80 years. But this building and some of the books inside it would not be here if it wasn't for the bravery of one woman. Virginia Y. Lee became a Gainsborough librarian in 1928.
You can't mention the Gainsborough Branch Library without mentioning Mrs. Lee's name.
Carla Lewis started working in the library a year after Lee retired in 1971. Wanting to follow in her footsteps, Lewis interviewed Lee twice. That's where she learned the library used to be housed in the basement of the YMCA.
She said it was a lot of rain, sometimes the books would get wet.
Lee petitioned Roanoke City to build an actual library for the community. Officials gave $20,000 for the project. Lee knew that wasn't enough money, so she asked nearby St. Andrew's Catholic Church for some of their land.
Well, I don't know whether it got to the Pope or not, but she said the answer was yes.
In 1942, the new Gainsborough Library officially opened its doors in the midst of segregation.
We couldn't use the regular libraries, we could use this one, and it became just an important part of our community.
It was a safe place for children like Earl Reynolds, who grew up visiting every day in the 1950s.
She would open up visions and ideas that helped you to believe in yourself.
She taught them about respect, personal hygiene, and college.
There were kids like me who needed the opportunity to explore and to dream about what the future could be like.
Lee was driven to make sure Black children had the same tools as every other child in the city, and to do that, she had to take risks and defy city officials.
She was almost fired for that, for ordering the books. Biographies, autobiographies, nonfiction materials pertaining to Blacks.
In a daring move, Lee continued to expand the Black History collection. She partnered with community leaders, reaching out nationwide for donations, creating the biggest collection of Black history in Southwest Virginia.
She was told by city officials not just to slow the pace of her collecting, but to get rid of the Black History collection.
They demanded the removal of the books as the civil rights movement was starting to gain momentum.
She took it to the library's basement and hid it there, and then would provide secret access to the books when people needed them.
Historian and University of Delaware professor Laura Helton is writing a book about Black women in the South who preserved history. An entire chapter is dedicated to Lee.
Her story is about another moment when there were folks who didn't think that this history should be accessible. Her story is a model for us to really think about and hold up in our own moment.
Every time we had an activity or a celebration, the neighborhood people came out.
Lewis worked to honor Lee by renaming the collection to the Virginia Y. Lee African American History Collection.
She wanted to create something important for Black people.
1982, Lee attended the ceremony and shared her story.
And I'm sure in the not too far distant future, you will be reading about, you will be hearing about the Black collection at Gainsborough Branch Library.
Lee passed away in 1992, but her courage continues to live on inside the Gainsborough Library. Reporting in Roanoke, Patsy Montesinos, WDBJ 7.